Hey guys, so this format is coming to a close with the new July ban list that was announced, and since I haven't shared any replays this month, thought I'd share a few against Plunder Patroll, Drytron, and Zoodiac. As for the deck list, I have been tweaking a little, but mostly it is the same as the one I showed in my last deck profile, so make sure to check that one out if you're interested. So let's just get started. So this first replay is against Plunder Patrol, and this is a really fast one, but I did want to show it because I was testing out Imperm in the main for this one, and I'm actually going to keep that, I think, moving forward. So I make him go first, and he actually just passes. And from my brief experience against Plunder Patrol, at least post Lightning Overdrive, that iteration, they seem to be going second. I'm not sure if that's actually common, but I do have a good hand to kill him, and I'm just going to add, I'll just fast forward here because actually he ends up scooping, so it doesn't matter. I guess he didn't really have hand traps either. And game 2, I thought he would actually make me go first, but he actually chooses to go first. And so he is going to start off with the Desires, and I'm going to Ash. Now my hand is honestly not good here, of course. I mean, Ash and Imperm is nice, but I don't have any starters, and I also hard drew the Dark Magician. He's going to start off with the field spell, pitch to Nibiru, and add the White Beard that he summons and sets 1. So not looking too intimidating. I do rip the Emergency off the top. That's really nice, so I can at least get to the core. And then next I'll do the Prosperity to see if I can kind of get to my Infinity play, and looks like I can because I reveal the hers that I can add, and I'll put the rest back to the bottom of the deck. So we're going to start off with the core, add the repair plant so we can do our typical play. So I'll just kind of fast forward here for now, and we're going to go into Homage, add the soldier, and we'll of course pitch the hers. And then I'll pause here because he actually uses summon limit, so I actually cannot summon out the soldier, and because of that, instead I'm going to use hers to add back the core for a follow-up play. You could technically leave it so you have another different level Cyber Dragon so that you can banish off Overflow and pop 2 cards, but then I wouldn't really have any follow-up, so I decided to just add back the core and just have the hers to be able to pop 1 card. And before I end my turn, he is going to use the Whitebeard effect, and he's going to summon up the Lease, which is a monster effect negate, and then it's going to equip to it, and then he's going to follow it up with the Lease effect so that he can summon back the Whitebeard out. So for his turn, he's just going to pitch the Nibiru with the field spell just to add the golden hair. He's under summon limit as well, so he's just going to attack over my Owl Mirage and then attack with the Whitebeard. So he's going to set 1, and because I do have the Imperm set in the same column as the face up summon limit, I'm actually going to pop the 1 face down card, and it ends up being another summon limit, so that's good. Drawing another soldier, that's really unfortunate when you only play 2. But now he's going to try to negate my core, and then I do Imperm here, and he actually concedes here, but basically I do have game because now Lease is negated, so core can search the emergency, and because I set the Imperm, summon limit is also negated, so I can actually freely go off. And so with the emergency, you'd add off the hers, and then do your Nova Infinity, and then Dragoon, and then you pop both, and then attack for game. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the next replay is against Drytron, which is certainly a very formidable deck, and certainly more so moving forward in the next format. So he is going to start off with the emergency and add the alpha, and then next he's going to use the Nova, special out the Zeta, and then he'll summon out the alpha by tributing off the Zeta, add the Ben 10, and then trigger the Zeta engrave, tribute that Ben 10, and then summon it, and then add the Medionis Drytron, and Ben 10 will add the Manju of the 1,000 Hands. Next, he's going to normal the Manju, add the full from deck, so now I see that he's playing the Megalith because it's a 60 card list, which isn't typical. So he's going to summon out the Mu Beta of Fafnir, Foolish the Gamma, then use Medionis, and then he can just detach off of the Mu Beta and summon out the full, and full. He's going to add back the Ben 10 from Grave, then use that effect, tribute it off right away, and special out the Ophiel, and then Ophiel you can add another full, and then Ben 10 will add the Eda 10. Next with Ophiel, he will tribute it for the Ritual Summon of Eda 10, and then that will add the Medionis from Grave, overlay into Beatrice, use that effect, Foolish the Eva, which means that Eva will trigger and he can banish the Manju and the Eda 10 to add orange and purple light. Next he'll use Medionis again, summon out the Ben 10, and then with Gamma tribute that off, bring out also the Zeta along with it, and Ben 10 will trigger yet again and add another orange. And then with Meteonus, he's just going to add it back to hand from the grave using its effect. Then use that again to summon out the full. And then go into Mirage Light. So this deck, it's just really hard to go up against when you're going second because, you know, they have these oranges in hand that you just can't stop going second. I mean, you could call by the grave the Eva at least, but even then, you know, A, it's one of, and B, you know, they still would have had at least one orange in hand anyway. So that's something you just, you know, you just can't stop a card in hand while going second. And so, you know, really, we're not going to do well this turn because he has 8 cards in hand. And we do negate the Herald, or rather the Mirage Light Herald, with the Droplet. But, you know, with 3 oranges in hand and we have the core that we would need to resolve, you know, it's just not going to go well for us. But I'll just show you how it goes. So I did pitch the Hers for that Droplet. So I'm going to add another Cyber Dragon along with it after I resolve the Prosperity. So I'm going to special the Cyber Dragon, use the core, of course. He's going to use orange and negate and destroy that. He even had a Lancea in hand, so he had additional hand traps on top of that. So with the repair plan, I will add the Galaxy Soldier to try to summon it, but of course, he's going to negate it once again with another orange. And, well, there goes our full board, and I do at least Contact Fuse, but to be honest with you, you know, that he still gets a plus from that because when Mirage Light or goes to grave, you know, he's going to add back that full, and he's going to add the Meteonus now. And I just attack over the full and set the Cyclone. It really doesn't matter. I knew I was dying, so I'm just gonna fast forward here. So he actually plays the Hers, so he's gonna Nightmare Phoenix. He also had another hand trap in Contact C, and so basically at this point he's just gonna summon a bunch of monsters. He even plays the big guy, Meteonus, Draconids, I believe. And so I don't know if this iteration post Lightning Overdrive actually play that, or if it's just this guy because he's playing the 60 card list. But I do concede here just because I knew I'm not going to win. And against Drytron, similar to Dragon Link, I'm actually intentionally choosing to go first because they're just too good. You know, if you let them go first, basically, if you don't draw and also resolve draw, or if you play Cycle Reader that as well, you know, you're probably not going to be able to win. And yeah, that's why I decided to go first. And you know what? I drew really well. I do have the summon limit. I have the Infinity Dragoon play, and I'll actually just fast forward here. And so I'm actually going to play the Prosperity now, just in hopes of getting the core so I can add Overflow. And I do technically by excavating the emergency that I'll add, and I'll just put the rest bottom of the deck. And we'll play the core. And then we can just search that Overflow, and we can bring out Dragoon through Anaconda. So we have the set 2. And with Hers, when we pitch it for Dragoon to negate, you know, Hers will trigger. We can add back the core from grave to hand. So it's a really, really good follow-up. But you'll see how I end up failing this. So on summon of Hers, this was really bad. By reflex, I activated Overflow because, you know, I'm so used to the mirror matches where I have to get rid of their Cyber Dragon monster, otherwise they Contact Fuse it for Fortress. But obviously it's Drytron, so he's most likely not actually playing Fortress or Megafleet. I mean, not that Megafleet would matter in this situation, but and it was a 60 card list, so I thought maybe is there a small chance he's also playing a Cyber Dragon package because I saw the Hers earlier, but probably not. So that was not a good use of my Overflow. So I'm gonna let him kind of go off in a way, quote unquote go off, because I do have the summon limit. So, you know, I felt I was in a pretty good situation still, and he's going to summon out the Alpha and add the Ben 10. And I do flip the summon limit here because he summoned the Hers, so that was the second summon. So I tell him that he can't actually go into Link Karibo right now. So he's actually stuck on this Alpha. And I wish I drew something stronger than, you know, 0 attack, and Hers is just 100 attack. So I pop for 2000, and I'm going to attack with the Infinity and Dragoon. And unfortunately, I just can't kill him. And so his turn passes around. He's going to try to trigger the Zeta. And he's going to tribute the Ben 10. And he's going to add the Meteonus. And I do roll here. Now he actually activates Orange. And he's going to pitch the Orange and the Eva. And you know what? I let it go. Because, you know, I have the summon limit. He is going to add the Natasha off of Eva. Or rather Ben 10, and with Eva's effect, I'm going to at least negate that one, and then Meteonus. You know, I let this go because I thought, is he just summoning Natasha? I mean, he's under summon limit, I wasn't too worried, and the whole time I was trying to play around triple tactics talent, right? Because if I negated something with Dragoon, and then that last card, he has his talents, then I would instantly lose because he can burn my Infinity for, you know, 2100 and attack with 4000. But I you know, I did see this Draconids in game 1, so I should have been aware of it. But I know typically I don't think Drytrons they play this card. At least in the previous iteration before Lightning Override, they did not. So, you know, I really did not expect it. I was playing around triple tactics talent. I was trying to be safe, but it kind of backfired. And this guy can attack all of my special summon monsters. So, you know, it ended up being really bad. And I blew a very good advantage away. And under summon limit now, when I don't have anything, you know, it's really hard. I could technically add the Kaiju with Repair Plant, but then that's one summon, right? So, you know, I can't really play much around it. So I'm gonna just bring out the Infinity, or rather Nova, to see if I can proceed to damage step if he doesn't know, but obviously he does know how to read, and he will pop the Nova, and I couldn't trigger it because I already summoned twice under summon limit. So not looking too good for me anymore, and I'll just kind of fast forward here because clearly I've lost. He can just, you know, attack for game. So that was pretty disappointing. I definitely probably could have played it better, but on to the next one. Alright, so this next replay is against pure Zoodiac, which of course Drytron is going to be banned post-July ban list, so not sure how this deck will fare after that. So he is going to start off with the Pot of Desires, draw 2. And so of course I do Droll here, but realistically pure Zoo, you know, after that they're not really searching, but he does summon out the Drytron, sets 2 and passes. So for turn we draw Droll, which is unfortunate. We are going to add the Hers off of Emergency. We're going to special the Cyber Dragon, and he actually shotguns Drytron's effect here. I'm not sure why. And I also decided to now shotgun Cyclone because clearly he doesn't have Imperial Order, and I figured at least one of the two would be something impactful, like for example Ice Dragon's Prison or any of the Solemn cards. Unfortunately I hit the tanky, so that's pretty bad, but I am just going to fast forward here now. So we're going to add the Repair Plan of course and just do our typical play. Not quite sure what that last remaining set was, so I was pretty worried, but I decided to just go for it anyways. You know, we did already have him use up Drytron's effect, so we're pushing for the kill, and the Drytron only has 400 defense, which means even Anaconda can get over it, which means that we can actually go for the kill here. So with Rampage, I do kill the set, and it ended up being the Cyclone, so he really didn't have anything. So we're just going to enter battle here, and we do go for game. So on to game 2, and he chooses to go first. And our hand is not great. I mean, the pot could end up being something nice, so we'll see. So he is going to summon Drytron and set 4. We're going to need, and we draw a Cyber Dragon. It's okay. Would have been nice to have something like a backrow hate, but unfortunately just a Cyclone, so I decided not to go for it, and I'm just going to go for the core. So we're going to put the rest back. So we're going to activate Emergency, add the core, and we're going to Kaiju the Drytron, special the Cyber Dragon, then go for the core, and he does have the Imperm, and also Macrocosmos. This card, along with cards like Dimension Shifter, you know, it's just really powerful, and because in the Dragoon build I don't play Cyberload Fusion, you know, I just don't have like a way of getting these banished cards back. And he also has the Solemn for my Seeger, and so I'm pretty much getting beat up by my own Kaiju that I gave. And you know what, I decided to just try to live for a turn and just pass, and he is just going to attack again with my Kaiju. I do draw the Prosperity and try to banish for 3, and my opponent actually said he had the response, so I just put the cards back. So basically I'm just playing defense. I mean, I could have also set the Hers, and perhaps that was a little better, but you know, my play was not looking too good. Okay, so moving on to game 3, of course, I am still choosing to go second against backrow decks. You know, because you have all the backrow removal cards you can side, it's a lot easier to intentionally go second. Well, I shouldn't say a lot easier, but you feel a little bit more confident than, you know, allowing our combo deck to go first. So he is going to start off with the Tenki and probably the similar play. Drytron and set bunch of cards, pass. Good for us is that we have Feather Duster this time, so it's looking good. We're going to activate the Emergency. He doesn't have Imperial Order, so that's always nice to see. I wish it got banned, but sadly it's still around. And so we are going to clean that up, and he does have the Ash, and then now he's actually going to pop the core as well. So we do have the Repair Plant though, and I can fast forward at this point, so we can at least do our Nova Infinity play. Unfortunately, you know, we don't have the resources to be able to also bring out Dragoon, and so I accidentally banished a face up there. So I'm just going to add the Kaiju just in case for the follow-up, because, you know, he likely can go into Zeus, although a lot of times, you know, Zeus is pretty easy for us to clear. So I do just attack over it with Infinity, and I set up my own Zeus. And this is something I do often if I don't have that extra body to be able to bring out Anaconda and go into Dragoon. So instead I actually set up a 4 material Zeus, and my opponent does concede here, and you know, against Zoodiac, Zeus is pretty good against him as well. Okay, so I was gonna stop there, but I actually have one bonus match. Technically only one game because the guy ends up just quitting early, but it was just really funny the way I won that I did want to show it. And it's against Dragonmaid, but at the time I didn't know. Based on my hand, it looks pretty bad, and I was hoping he was playing a backrow deck, and he starts off with the black metal, and I'm like, oh no, Dragon Lake, this is gonna be terrible. But you know, I did have droplet, so I thought perhaps I could pull something off. So he's gonna special out the red eyes, bring out the black metal, go into seal, activate World Legacy, bring the black metal LP, and then with the Legacy, of course, he's going to be able to move the LP, and then with the LP he will special out the chamber, which will then add, of course, the Tidying Trap. Very good card. Oh, actually, yeah, this is where I realized he was playing Dragonmaid, because he adds the changeover and not tidying. So now he's going to go into Pisty, and maybe I should fast forward here, and he's going to bring back and special out Borland Furious Dragon. I was not expecting that. It's typically kind of like a super poly target in terms of against Dragon Link, actually. And I'm actually going to start off with the Lightning Storm to force out the seal, because otherwise, you know, seal's effect, it doesn't target, so it will force out Dragoon's negate if I summon it. So he's going to bring out the Parlor, which then foolishes the other Dragonmaid, and I'm just going to banish the set, which ends up being Tidying. So now I do activate Red Eyes Fusion and bring out Dragoon. I was hoping he'd have a slightly high attack monster on top of the Borland, so that I could go for game, but you know what, this was a pretty good cleanup still with the kind of hand that I did. And I'm going to set the two Imperm and the Droplet. And so here, he's going to start off the turn and bring out the Parlor. And then with Parlor, he does foolish the Tidying. Next, with the Tidying, he's going to special out the Lorpar and Changeover. This is the one card I was trying to save my negate for, so he doesn't bring out the Fusion Dragon. And now at this point, I'm hoping he goes into Boral Sword and attack me, because I do have the Droplet and a card to send, so that it would end up, you know, if he attacks into my Dragoon, he would actually lose. So this whole time, like, please just go into Boral Sword. And so he does bring out a lot of monsters, adds the Tidying with the Chamber. And then he's also going to add the Changeover backhand by bouncing the Chamber. And in fact, he does go into Boral Sword. So at this point, I was getting very excited. He's going to use Chamber to bring out Lorpar. And he does, in fact, attack Dragoon with Boral Sword. And at this point, I do use Droplet, sending it the Imperm, and it does get halved. And he loses this way. It's kind of like a modern day Mirror Force. And he ends up just quitting here on me. But, you know, it was a super fun way to win a game, and I just wanted to show that off. Alright guys, so that was it for the replay video. Hope you found that interesting. Once the new ban list comes into effect, I'll see what I need to change and provide an updated deck profile then. Take care guys.